Well,
Hello.
good evening, everybody, and welcome to Simply Spooky with your main host Vivian and your co-host Dan. And tonight we've been talking about what we're having a chat and racking our brains what the subject that we were going to talk about this evening, and we've come up with a very very interesting subject, which is hauntings of inanimate objects or inanimate objects that are spectral, if you like. So, Viv, do you want to kick off with it?
Well, I'll give an example for that. The Mary Celeste, that famous ship that's supposed to appear in the middle of the ocean and has nobody on board. Nobody really talks about that anymore. They've made films quite similar, like Ghost Ship, that sort of thing. But the actual ship herself, Mary Celeste, there has been one or two in years past, but in recent years, nobody's really sort of spoken about that, and nobody knows where the crew went to. The
No,
crew just
no.
disappeared.
Yeah, there's all supposition, but nobody's actually got to the grassroots of it. There's been lots of
No,
suppositions and lots of philosophies, but nobody really knows. Um, but it is interesting, isn't it? And as you quite rightly say, it's seen on quite a few occasions, still bobbing up and down on the ocean waves. I don't know when it was last seen, but yeah, it has been seen quite a few times, and that goes right across the board, doesn't it? I mean, I remember reading about a car. There's many stories about this um, all over the world, but a car that continually drives through a street in Cornwall, and first of all, people look at it because it's from the 30s, so it's completely out of sync with today, and a lot of people think that it's just somebody's personal possession. You know, they bought it and they particularly like antique cars, and that's what it is. But then they realise that as it goes along, it disappears, so it just fades. But it does. But with the actual car itself comes the noise, so they can hear it as well. So I don't know.
yes,
Yeah, and as you know, the thing is that there are lots and lots of these stories that abound around the world. Um,
isn't there a car in Essex that drives across to Cannes from Canvey Island?
it's a possible. I'm not sure about that one, but it's a possibility. There's one in Bedford that I know of that was associated with a murder, and the guy. This was back in the 20s, back in the 20s, 30s, and he'd kidnapped somebody and he'd murdered them, and then he set the car alight to try and get rid of the evidence. And the
Right.
car is still occasionally seen in that spot as a burnt out.
Somebody and he
Oh,
murdered them.
feedback, Viv.
Sorry, I'm sharing the page out. Is that
Oh,
the
fair enough.
thing out?
Yeah, so the car is often seen this. Well, often it's seen quite a few times over the years in the same spot that the murderer's car was left to burn out. So
Oh, right.
yeah, I mean, and yeah, you're right. There's lots of things. There's like coaches, isn't there? Like horse and coaches that are seen and often heard. There's one in Borley, which is said to, and I know somebody who says that they've experienced it. It comes thundering down the road, and as it goes past, you can hear it come and you can hear it arrive, and then move on.
Really?
Yeah, and then but the wind, it creates a wind tunnel as well, so that disturbs people's ear in the trees and what have you. Or it is said that that's what happens. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that they're. I'm inclined to believe that they're just place memories. They're just
Yeah.
stone tape theory, that type of thing. But then I guess that if you can, I've never really heard of a stone tape theory where you can hear it.
No.
And
And
certainly
that's like my point. Like when you said about that person hearing, and you get that sound. Like
yeah,
there's been planes in haunted planes. There is a famous one that they see as they approach Heathrow, and it's said that this plane actually lands at Heathrow Airport on the tarmac, and the captain or whatever it is that drives this plane or flies the plane is seen walking through Terminal 3. Now, Terminal 3 is busy, but at times when it hasn't been so busy and there's been hardly anybody in there in days of past, he's been seen carrying his small little attaché case with him. Not one of these things on a trolley, like a case, walking through the terminal itself. So
has he ever interacted with anybody, or is he just?
No, he
Right.
just walked through. But the plane has been seen, the plane's been heard, and the plane lands, and then he's seen walking through the terminal, which is a bit strange, a bit odd. So not
Yeah.
only do you have the inanimate object associated with that
You have
one,
him.
which is the plane, but you have him
Yeah,
with the plane.
it's like there's so many. I remember there was one it was one of the old United States airfields over here, and a guy had he wasn't a paranormal investigator or anything like that, so he didn't have he didn't have sort of any he didn't have any reason for hi William. He didn't have any reason for saying it. But hi Chantel, he was driving say Lincolnshire. I think it might have been Lincolnshire actually. Anyway, he's driving through Lincolnshire through an old disused airbase, which was used during World War II by the United States of America. And he pulled onto the airbase, sat there, he was going to have a sandwich, and then he was going to have a bit of a sleep. And he was eating his sandwich, and all of a sudden, from nowhere, what he described was like a Willys Jeep turned up, but it had 4 soldiers in it. And a guy got out the back of it and started shouting at him, "What are you doing here? Who are you? Dirty, 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 dirty." And then he said, then the guy got back in the Jeep and they just drove off.
Oh.
But there wasn't anybody in the airfield. He believes that they were spirits.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really weird, isn't it? It's like, I don't know, you see the spirit, you see the people, but they've got the Jeep with them.
What about the ones that only appear once a year?
Like so anniversary thing.
Yeah, we have a famous one here in England. It's called Sutton Hoo. Right?
Yes.
And
yeah.
I know that there's a film on Netflix about Sutton Hoo, and it tells you all about the dig and what the thing is. It's a Viking ship, and it's supposed to be a king or someone buried within the ship itself. But the actual Viking ship reanimates once a year on top of the hill of which it was buried. That one I just can't get my head around, and there's been numerous witnesses to say they've actually seen the ship reanimate itself.
I know, it's really odd, isn't it? It's really odd. A lot of these henges apparently have had hi Jamie. Okay. A lot of these henges apparently have had people have seen what they believe to be spirits walking down with lit torches,
Yeah.
With flame torches walking down like it was a ceremonial thing. But they've obviously looked like they weren't dressed like now. They were dressed like they would have been about 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. But then they disappear. And it's I mean, is it repetitive or? But
why is it that Dan, that these things that are made with wood and steel, and even the cars themselves, why are they showing themselves? Why? Because they weren't living. They weren't like living people.
No.
So why would these things show themselves again, especially on an anniversary of something? I just don't get it, because it has no conscious.
No, exactly. I think it's either a case of, I mean, we were saying, weren't we? So I think it's a case of a lot of it is place memory. A lot of them are that. But then you've got the one with the Jeep, with the soldiers that interacted with the guy, and it's like, well, I don't know. Unless, I mean, I've thought about this long and hard over the years, and I wonder if it's people, provide the environmental conditions are right, and you get the right person who may be susceptible to picking up maybe a medium or maybe a psychic or have some sort of ability but doesn't know it. I wonder if what happens is they tune into the Akashic records.
But Sutton Hoo's once a year. So
yeah.
it only happens on a certain
Right.
day every year, so it would be interesting to see. Maybe we should go and look at that, Dan, and see
But
if
there's battlefields as well, Viv, aren't there? We've got a lot of English Civil War battlefields over here where
yeah. But you see the
the
people though.
yeah, the people, yeah. But you can hear the clanging of swords and stuff, can't you?
Yeah, but
You
these are
know,
more like the objects themselves rather than the people.
yeah. But then I remember there was Strange but True, I think it was, which was back in the 90s, wasn't it? I think 80s, 90s. Michael Aspel, I think it was. And there was a documentary on Ghosts of the Moor. And it was, I can't think what moor it was. It was one of the English Civil War battlefields. And they quite often saw people. Hi, Robert. They quite often saw people hiding by the hedges and the trees in the battlefields, or by the side of the battlefields, that were dressed of that period, but looked shocked and frightened, and were crouching down by it to try and hide themselves. So is it a split in time?
I think that's a different type of haunting, Dan. I don't think that's anything like the objects that are coming back. I think that's more of maybe what happened with the battlefield, or the shock of what they're seeing, or with the inanimate object, there's something terrible happened on that battlefield. Like with the inanimate object, it's just made of
Yeah,
wood,
yeah.
said wood, so there's no
It hasn't got a
reason.
consciousness as such.
No, so there's no
Or
reason for that to keep coming back. Like
well,
whereas the
no.
people
Or
different.
maybe it's to do with the energy, because everything, irrespective whether it's inanimate or it's it's got consciousness,
Why
everything
don't
is
we
made
see
of an
more
energy,
then?
isn't it?
Why don't we see more?
But there's a bus as well. There's a bus apparently that goes through a town and pulls up outside a public house, like a normal red London bus, and then
Really?
an old-fashioned one, then drives off and disappears. And
Is that where Harry Potter got the idea from?
Yeah, who knows? I know she got a lot of her stuff from the world of magic and all sorts of wonderful historical artifacts and stuff, but who knows? Yeah, it's a global phenomenon. It's
It's funny.
it's a global phenomenon. I don't really know. It's odd. It's odd. So William says the movie isn't accurate. What movie was that again?
That's
Sorry.
the Sutton Hoo one.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we thought that. I mean, these are outside in fields though, so it might be just stuff manifesting from the environment itself. But we don't know. That's what we're trying to conclude, I guess.
That's an interesting one because like you said about the World War II Jeep shows people, but the ship itself had well, there's two ships. There's Mary Celeste and Sutton Hoo.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Mary Celeste would have had a lot of people on that boat, a lot, to even get the sails up and what have you. But they just disappeared. So this thing shows itself, and people board the ship. This is what I don't get. People are able to board that boat and and look around and what have you, and then once they leave, the ship just disappears.
Is that a time slip?
I don't know. And again,
is it caught
like
in a loop?
Who,
Is it caught in a time loop where it
Sutton
keeps
Hoo,
reappearing?
There's no one. And we'd have had a few people on board that one as rowers and what have you for their captain or boss, because he was he's said to be a Viking ship, but he's only one person buried on there. So why doesn't he? It's just one person. So why doesn't he reanimate with the boat? Again, like there's too many questions, lots and lots of questions. He wants to go to Sutton Hoo.
Definitely, William. Definitely. Well, I think the thing about the
Yeah.
clothing, I think that when you see you get some, like you'll have like a collection of people that will see a spirit together, and then you'll have the odd one, and somebody won't, and what have you. And what I don't think that that person is there. I think that what they do is they put that image into your mind, and then what happens is almost like a projector. So they
Yeah.
enable you. They do something to your mind so that you can see them in their clothing and what have you. It's Harry Potter's bus, the night bus, isn't it? I think. I think it's
So
the night. I think it's not. I think what it is I personally think that what they do is we see them as a projection because they put that into our minds.
But
You know.
what
But
about when
objects? I don't know.
But what about when people see the same thing, which is an animate object en masse though? That's just I just can't get my head around that at all.
We will do, Robert.
Have me over
Definitely.
for tea. Come
We
for
will do,
tea,
Robert.
tea and cake.
Hi, Lois.
Hi, Lois. We will
Yeah,
have a catch up.
It's very odd, isn't it? It's very strange.
Yeah,
It's very strange.
yeah. Because like they say that with the Mary Celeste, people have actually boarded the like living people have boarded the boat and have looked around. They have found paperwork, cutlery. They even found the ship's log, didn't they? Where somebody had been writing each day in the ship's log.
Yeah.
They found all of that, and yet they come off that boat, and then the boat just disappeared. How the hell can that happen?
Well, there's another one, isn't there? I think it's a B-52 that is seen, not heard though,
Yes.
this one, but it's seen going over Lady Bower estuary or lake up in Derbyshire, and then but they know that there's the B-52 actually crashed there, and all on board, sadly, all on board were killed.
It's funny you say that because when I had that extreme case, the gentleman there had said that there was quite a few people in his loft, and all of them heard this drone of a plane in wartime going over the house. And they all ran outside, see the plane in the distance, and they mentioned a B-52, and then they heard what seemed to be crash, and they all ran in the direction that they thought that they heard the crash.
Yeah, nothing there. No. Be interesting to see if there was a crash there, though, wouldn't it? To follow it up and see if you can dig into the history of the area and find out. I mean, it's not that long ago, is it? You know?
Yeah, there was a.
Yeah, and I also think that's exactly it, Chantal. And I also think they can manipulate how you see them. So that's why, for example, some people see them younger, and some people see them older, and some people that were in wheelchairs and standing.
I can answer that question from a medium's point of view. From a medium's point of view, when they come in to give messages, as memory links, they will show something in through the third eye as a memory link that you could tie in with your nana. For example, if you remember in that pink dress or the orange dress, and she bought you a candy floss on the seat at the seaside, then she will show herself in that dress with you as a child buying candy floss at the seaside, and that's what they will relay through the third eye. But they're not physically seeing them, so they're not physically seeing them standing there in the flesh like you would see a spirit, but through the mind's eye, that's what she would project, an image of that exact thing happening. So it's a little bit different from the haunting, if you like. Not the same. Not the same at all. It's like when I get messages, Dan, if I'd get a memory link for you, it would be through the third eye. So you're seeing it in your mind through the third eye, but you're not physically seeing it with your own eyes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's what people are doing. Maybe the illusion is that you're seeing it with your third eye, like general public, anybody, like the apparitions I've seen. Maybe I'm seeing it with the third eye, but it's translating as I'm looking at it normally.
Yeah,
Do
but
you know what I
it's
mean?
completely, yeah, you wouldn't see through the third eye,
But we don't
like,
know though, do we? But we don't know though, do
yeah,
we?
yeah, we do, because I'm a medium.
Yeah,
So
but we
through the
don't know.
third
What I'm
eye.
saying is, we don't know everything, do we?
No. But what I'm saying is that through the third eye, that works through imagery. So playing clips, but I would never see in my third eye, through my third eye. Let's say I'm physically in a place, like physically sitting in this room. Through the third eye, I would not see somebody walking into the door and sit down next to me. Do
But
you know
how
what I
do
mean?
you know
That would
you're
be
not
with my
seeing it
own
with your?
eyes,
How do you know you're not
because
seeing it with
it's
your third eye, and
because
the
it's
illusion is that you're seeing it with your eyes?
yeah. Well, doesn't that's not how it works.
Yeah, but I don't know, do
Don't
I?
know
I
for
mean,
sure. Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, when I
we
do
don't know. Nobody
clairvoyance,
really knows, do they? Because nobody really knows about the subject. It's
but
all
with
speculation,
clairvoyance,
isn't it?
yeah, with clairvoyance, that doesn't work like that at all. It's all through working through third eye and imagery. That doesn't bring you, because I can go off anywhere with that, not sit in this room, but I'm not physically seeing it with my own eyes. Does that make sense? So
Yeah,
Viv's
but
eyes is not seeing it.
what I'm saying is that I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying
Mm,
is, are we seeing with the third eye? Then it's getting translated, and the illusion is that we're seeing it with. Because the thing is, our own eyes, when we see things, we see them. The time lapse is a little bit later than the actual point of action, and also
yeah,
when we see things, everything's upside down. But the way the eye works, it turns it up quickly. So when you look at it,
that's right.
you know, you're looking at it. Who
Yeah.
knows? It's all supposition, isn't it? It's all no one. I mean, it's odd. What was
Have
that,
we
Viv?
ever been
Sorry,
anywhere? Have we ever been anywhere where we've both seen something but slightly different?
you and
You
I.
know, like yeah, where we've seen a haunted, where we've seen something. Do you remember when we went to, for example, when we went to, the tree at that place?
Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Can we explain a little bit on that on here or not?
Yeah.
Do
Go
you
on.
think? We went to a place called Binham Priory, and I saw a person walking by a wall that Dan couldn't see. So I took photos, and then subsequently we had chiming that came from that tree. I heard the chiming, but I couldn't then see anything else. And then you came up with, tell them what about the tree, about what's buried there.
I think the tree's significant because the guy that we spoke to who was there when we arrived, he said that he'd seen what he believed to be a monk that was heading towards the tree. And every time he'd experienced some form of activity or apparition, it was moving around the tree. And I wondered whether, because the tree was it was a very old tree,
Oh,
probably
yeah,
been there since, well, it would have been there since the days, I guess, of the building of the abbey. And I wondered whether there was something, the tree was significant in a way that there was something hidden underneath it. And what they were trying to do was either tell you that something was underneath there, something was hidden, because the bells were coming from the tree, weren't they, Viv?
yeah,
And I walked over as far as close as I could get to it, and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything. Um, and then it kind of stopped, and then I walked back, and it started again, didn't it?
yeah.
So I don't know whether they hid anything under that tree during the Reformation or. Yeah, exactly, Chantel. That's what me and Viv do. Yeah.
Well, when we go out on investigations, I do not use my mediumship because there is no need for it. There's no call for it. We're there to try and prove or disprove the existence of spirit, ghosts, whatever. So whatever I come up with is irrelevant, because a lot of times, if you get nothing, I could end up sort of doing psychometry by laying my hands on the building, that sort of thing. So what I've done instead is when I go investigating, and not many mediums will say this, but I do, I link in with my guides and I get told when to take pictures, where to take pictures.
Yeah, you're good at that.
And I take a lot of pictures, as many as I can possibly take. And then on one of the pictures, I'll get an apparition. I've been lucky enough to get full-bodied apparitions, partial apparitions, apparitions moving along. I've even photographed a residual haunting, which was many. It was a procession. It was silly, but anyway, that is where my mediumship comes into play. If me and Dan run into trouble, that again is when my mediumship will come into play. Like if Dan got physically attacked or psychically attacked by spirit, I would be helping Dan. 9 times out of 10, though, it's me that's the one that's getting attacked or strange things are happening to. So because they know that I can see. So that's the only time I'll be using it, on investigations. If I'm doing a private house, though, completely different kettle of fish. I'm there to help the people in the home. And I'm there not to tell them what the haunting is. I don't want to do that because it will frighten them. What I want to do is get rid of it. And that's what my forte is getting rid of or trying to make connection with them, finding out what they want and asking them, helping them get their last things done so they can move on or go where it is they need to go to. You can't remove spirit. They have to go of their own free will. And as for residual hauntings, good luck with trying to move one of those.
Yeah.
If people tell me, they send them into the light and they've gone away. Absolute rubbish. So that
I think
is
a lot of that school of thought came about after the film Poltergeist, didn't it?
Oh God!
Like move them into the light. I think that's where the idea came from.
It's just so stupid, we've had many a conversation with a certain person in California, and the way he describes it is, and I can't do it on here because it's so rude, but it sort of knocks their nail on the head with a hammer, if you like, because he says they talk utter BS when they say they've moved something into the light, and I'm in agreement with him.
Yeah, I think he's spot on, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
so
what yeah, exactly. It would be built. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, Bill, I'm going to blow the stone tape theory out of the water here and now. We have a friend over here in the UK that was on a TV program that should not be mentioned. And he was their historian, and he writes and lectures a lot about the stone tape theory. And he says this is why you don't see dinosaurs walking around or cavemen, right? I was party to a conversation where 6 people went night fishing. And where they go night fishing, there is a island in the middle of this beautiful, massive lake, which is more of a bird sanctuary. So no humans walk on it or anything like that. But it was early hours of the morning when the sun started to come up, and they saw people walking on the shore of this small island. Very sort of messy hair, quite hairy people, wearing very little clothing, if you like, walking around. He said they seemed to be hunching over, that they couldn't stand straight, and there was 4 of them, that disappeared into a small opening, like a cave opening on this small particular island. 6 of them stood and witnessed this with their mouths open. When the fishing warden, I don't know what you call him here, Dan, you know, the man that takes your money,
I think is it yeah, I've licensed guy, isn't it? Rod license guy,
and they asked him about, can we go over to that island and do a bit of fishing like them that we saw those people? What people? Because there's no way of getting across to it unless you go on a boat. And secondly, it's all private there, and you have to seek permission to even be on that place to go fishing, and then you have to pay the bailiff when he turns up. And he said, no, there is no one that goes there. There's no one been on that island for the last 6 years. He said, so I don't know what you're talking about. He said, we haven't even gone over there. He said, the RSPB go over there from time to time to check on the birds. But other than that, no one goes there. So the RSPB, when they go there, they'd be wearing a uniform. So what they had actually seen, which all 6 of them, because I went and asked all 6, they turned around and told me they looked like cavemen.
Yeah, and I've heard of a few stories about people seeing cavemen.
Yeah. So when it comes to the stone tape theory, why are people seeing cavemen over here then if the stone tape theory is true? That's my question. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
This is funny. Shall I show you? Hang on. There he is. That's Iggy. Iggy Pop. We call him Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop's a rib.
That's terrible. Anyone that knows Iggy Pop knows how skinny he is, but the name just fit. Just Iggy.
I like Iggy Pop.
Do you like Iggy Pop?
Yeah, I do like Iggy Pop.
Voldemort.
Yeah, I know. I thought of that, Chantel, when we were talking about it. But yeah. I mean, it's odd, isn't it? It's. I mean, so you're talking aircraft, you're talking cars, you're talking ships, you're talking.
Do you think that film? Do you think that film Christine was made? Did Steven Spielberg hear about the haunted car, and that's how he got the film Christine?
Yeah, because the car was possessed, wasn't it?
Oh, Stephen King, not Steven Spielberg.
Yes, the car was possessed, wasn't it? I think that was the idea behind the car, wasn't it? Good film, that actually. I quite like that film. Yeah, I mean, it's really weird, isn't it? I've only ever seen, the only apparitions I've seen have been of people.
I have seen a headless horseman, which is of people. Yeah.
Was that in Sleepy Hollow?
I've seen it and heard it. You hear that, dun 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 dun, and then it comes right past you, and you think. At first, it came as a black mass, and then when it got close to me, I could make out the cloak, the boots, the hands.
Where'd you see that?
That was in. Where were we? That was Windsor Walk. And yet they say if you see the headless horseman, you have a heart attack and die. I'm still here.
Yeah, there's lots of it's odd, isn't it? I mean, the 2 I would say were, maybe 3 were intelligent.
Hi, Naomi.
Hi, Naomi. Maybe 3 were intelligent, but there was a couple of them are not. But yeah, it's odd. Have you ever seen a shadow person, Viv?
I've seen the outline of someone that's very dark, and I've also seen the outline of someone that was, how can I explain it? It's going to make no sense. Invisible, like cloaking, like in Predator.
Like Predator, yeah.
So I see the outline, and then there's this shimmer in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that would be the opposite of a shadow person. So is
Yeah.
that still a shadow person?
I have
So
no idea. I know
I've,
people. Go on. Sorry.
I've seen that. So shadow person with a hat, no. Um, but then they say if you see a shadow person that hasn't got a hat, that's supposed to be a hag. No, it was definitely a man. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just really weird. I
Well,
think
it's
people like to put these labels on it.
yeah. That's the problem with the human race, isn't it? Everything's labelled. But I think the one that I saw, the trouble with
Mm.
physics, though, to be honest with you, William, is it's want to be keep changing. The laws of physics, as we know them at the particular time, might decree that something isn't workable, but then another professor will come up with a sum that in total says that well it is. You know, there's all who knows? Who knows? It's all conjecture and supposition, isn't it? Really?
But with the residual energy, it wouldn't manifest itself as a solid thing. And for example, I use the Mary Celeste. You know, why would people be able to board that ship and actually touch objects on that ship and read objects on that ship, then to come away from it and to go back the next day and it's nowhere to be seen, not on radar, nowhere. So that's what I find a bit weird. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah. It's odd, isn't it? It's really odd. Yes, they do. They do. They do, Bill. They really do. I've seen one really close to the point where I almost touched
Really?
it. I saw it.
No.
Yeah, I've told you the story of it when we did. Um, and Barry was there. Barry Fitzgerald was there, and so was Don. And we'd gone. It was in the Galleries of Justice.
Galleries. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd gone into the ladies' laundry room. So what it is, it's like the set. It was jail as well, wasn't it, Viv? At one point, and they used to execute people there as well. And a lot of the lady prisoners were in the washrooms. So I'm guessing that they used them to wash up the laundry. And I was in there with Dawn, and we walked around the washrooms, absolutely pitch black. Walked around the washroom, didn't see anything, and said, "Right, okay, we'll go down to the condemned cell." So you know it, Viv, don't you? You walk down the steps towards the condemned cell, and as we got to the top to walk down the steps, I think Dawn had taken 2 steps down. Then behind us, we heard footsteps and shuffle, and we looked at each other. And I remember saying to Dawn, "Did you hear that?" And she had heard it, and it was like, "Let's go back and have a look." So we went back, and by this point, Barry'd come down the stairs, the first set of stairs, and he was on the 3rd step up, I think, just looking round at us and talking. And Dawn, I don't know where Dawn was, but she walked slightly in with me, and that was it. And then I walked into the other. There was like a bedroom there, isn't there? And I walked into there, and I looked around that bedroom, and there was nothing there. And I came out again, and as I came out, I said there was a figure there, solid black figure. But I thought I was just, it's dark in here. Can't really make anything out, features or anything. And I thought it was Dawn. So I went to put my hand on its shoulder to just say to move it out of the way. And I was just about to touch it. I said, "Sorry, Dawn, can I just get past you?" And it didn't say anything. It moved off to my left and it just walked off. And then Dawn went, "Who are you talking to, Dan? I'm over here." And I said to Barry, "Did you see it?" He said, "I didn't say anything." So
Did Dawn see it?
No, Dawn didn't see it. Just me. But it looked, I mistook it for Dawn.
Yeah.
And I went to put my hand on its shoulders or shoulder to move it and just didn't rush, gently moved it. It moved out the one its own accord. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
Chantal.
Do you know, there was, I live in a place where there was a very, very, very famous guy that taught at the college, it was the universities here. I was very, well, unfortunate to be on the butt of one of his jokes where he just ploughs his wheelchair straight through you. Anyway, I digress. Stephen Hawking. Everyone knows who Stephen Hawking is. And before he died, he was working on wormholes. He was trying to explain wormholes and dark matter. Dark matter being something that's all around us. It's not black. It's not something we can physically touch. But we're doing and looking into dark matter, what it is and what's its use and why it's there and all the rest of it. So I think the scientists there were picking up and looking at dark matter even more, but it's gone very quiet on that front when it comes to dark matter. But when he used to talk about wormholes and time travel, he said that there were wormholes everywhere, just not big enough for us to use or to access. But he firmly believed that time travel was possible, which brings me to thinking that these inanimate objects are using, when I say using, they're not consciously using, but they're being sucked into these small wormholes and going
And popping
somewhere
up
and coming
everywhere.
back. Yeah, and including Bigfoot, because Bigfoot is
Oh, yeah.
definitely. It's your fault. I'm getting into Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah. I
It's
think
very.
it's interdimensional, definitely.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if they're using these wormholes and deliberately turning up. They know more than what we do, so they're turning up in these places. They're now being seen in the UK, which I find is astonishing.
Yeah.
That they are, and other cryptids are coming up into the UK. So, like, they're using these wormholes. Do you think maybe these inanimate objects are being sucked into wormholes? And even the Bermuda Triangle, people were saying that planes were going missing and then turning up years later. Didn't one turn up years later with the crew on board, all very confused?
I think that was found to be somebody making it up.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think there was one where the plane, I know there was one, it might be a different one, Viv, to be honest. It might be totally different to one. I heard one where a plane took off, went missing for 50 years, and then landed where it was meant to land, its final destination. And when they went on board, the crew and that were all skeletons. But
Really?
but it turned out to be a load of nonsense. Yeah, no, I didn't see any. There were no facial features. There were no features about it. All I could see was a dark shadow in front of me, and I assumed it was dawn because I mean, Viv will tell you what this place is like. It's absolutely pitch black, isn't it, Viv? In that women's
Yeah.
quarters and down by the rather condemned cell.
Wind up in a desert. Yeah. It's an
Yeah,
interesting subject, isn't it?
it is.
You know, I've seen reports that was it castles in the sky or big cities appearing?
Yeah, well,
I
they
don't know.
found a reason for that now, haven't they? With a lot of that, a lot of people, it is quite. It's accepted now that people can see castles and cities in skies because what happens is it's something to do with it's mainly at sea they see it. And
Reflection,
what it is,
isn't it?
reflection. Yeah, it's reflection, which I think that's amazing, phenomenal, really. Just that, But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just odd, isn't it? It's really odd.
Well,
Inanimate objects that.
I think we should do a couple of investigations, well, at least one this year, of an inanimate object. Let's go in search of this inanimate object and let's see, does it appear, are conditions correct? Sutton Hoo would be the ideal one to go and have a look at. See if we can go in and see if either myself or Dan actually physically sees this thing reanimate itself, because that would be awesome. It would take people with us, so we're not, the team. We were not just us. So if all three of us would see it, let's see if we all see the same thing. That would be an
Yeah,
interesting
yeah.
thing. Do we all see the same thing, or do we see it separately,
What I
differently?
used to do on investigations, I used to, if there were two investigators that go off together, and I used to say to them beforehand, if you see something separately, acknowledge that you're seeing something, write down what you're seeing, don't speak to each other, come out, give those notebooks to an independent investigator, and then they can look at them and they can see if the comparisons are the same thing that they're seeing.
Let Vivian just shit herself and everyone will know about it. Oh, God, I'm not looking forward to Saturday.
Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be all right. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's a weird and wonderful world that we live in. Yeah, it's things that make you go, but Bill, it really is. Yeah.
Was it the theory of it? Was it the theory of everything? He talks about wormholes in that.
Yeah,
That book, the theory of everything.
Something along those lines, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he did actually prove the existence. There was him and another scientist, I believe, that actually proved the existence of wormholes.
Do you know what amazes me? And it still blows me away, Viv. That they'll discover something now. They'll use the cutting edge of science and they'll discover something, whether it's planetary or whatever. You know, for example, they're now discovering planets that they'd never knew existed before because the quality of the telescopes that they're using are that much better. And so they're doing it. And then they're realizing that the ancients knew this all along without the ability of those type of telescopes, without the ability of any telescope. They knew exactly. It's like, if I'm right, I might be wrong, but I know it's something that some of these particular mystical spiritual landmarks like Stonehenge or the place in South America, Machu
Picchu.
Places like that, if you lay them out in a straight line, depending on from where they start to and get a line, if you then turn them over, the star system is representative of each one of those in a line. It's really odd. It's really, really weird. And I don't know. I mean, are we talking ancient aliens? Are we talking gods? What are we talking? I mean, I don't really know. But it just blows me away that we think, oh, we've got this cutting, edge technology. Look at what we can do. And then you find out they've been doing it all along, like thousands of years ago.
But these inanimate objects, and that brings me on to haunted dolls, right, and haunted items, because I don't believe these items to be haunted. I believe that they hold energy of previous owners.
Yeah.
So could these objects be the same thing where they are holding energies of previous owners, and which is why the thing is reanimating once a year because there was a special anniversary to mark, I don't know, death, wedding, whatever. I don't know.
No.
I just have so many questions regarding it, Dan.
I've seen some amazing psychometry readings from people on inanimate objects.
I have.
I saw a couple of mediums do. I think one was a walking stick, and one was, I can't remember what it was, but they got everything bang on. Everything was bang on about these items.
I picked up a piece of concrete out because I went to visit Auschwitz, and I picked up a piece of concrete well away from the back gate of our Auschwitz before we went in. And when we went in, the first thing we hit was crematoria that had been exploded by the Germans in the Second World War. I didn't know that it was concrete in my pocket. I thought it was a stone. Anyway, it turned out to be a piece of concrete. So I didn't have the heart to throw that away because of the amount of deaths that's associated with it. And because I teach mediumship, I run private circles and things like that. So I gave I always give them a test. If I know that they're strong enough to be able to deal with the emotion that pain comes with that item, I put it in the medium's hand to, have a go at psychometry. And only one person, and this is the only one person in about 10, 15 years that has been able to read that piece of concrete. And it's funny because she didn't know what she was reading. All she could say was, I can see an eye, just a single eye, and it's blinking at me. I can see it blinking. And then she says, oh, I feel so cold. I just feel really cold with this. And then she said, what was it? She tried to make sense of the eye, and she sort of spoilt it a little bit. I mean, she was, first time at doing that sort of thing. Then she was saying, oh, I feel peaceful now. And what she was telling me was the last minutes of someone in that crematoria with the eye looking through the eye hole, feeling cold was because they were all naked, and then being at peace. Because she said she felt confused, and then she said she felt at peace now, which was the passing of the many hundreds that were in the showers at that time. So she was the only lady that has blown me away when it comes to psychometry, because she read this thing not knowing what was in her hand. She did try to make sense of what she was seeing by adding bits in, and I told her not to do that. Don't add anything in, just tell me what you get. And she was the only one that could read that one. And then when I did tell her what it was and where it come from, she was very, very overwhelmed, I must say. I had to make her a nice cup of tea and sit her down, to get over the shock. But then you know who that person is.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? I don't. What do you
So we got some
about?
stuff in the chat.
Oh, go on. Box. Take it down, please.
William says, "What's happening Saturday?"
We're out investigating on Saturday, William. We are off to a place that we've done a couple of times, and we've had good activity there. Great activity, actually.
Good.
And we're hoping that it's going to happen again. So, and we're bringing a new member with us, so that'll be. Might be Bill. Yeah.
Ley lines. Sutton Hoo doesn't have any major ley lines.
No, Sutton Hoo hasn't. I think Bill's referring to the ones that I'm talking about. I think Bill's referring to the places of sort of worship, those sacred places that you turn them upside down, and I think that's what Bill's on about. Hi, Terry. Yeah.
Hi, Terry. Oh, excellent.
We might be for a while, Chantel. Yeah, we might be for a while. We're not going to be out there long because it's unlike where you are. Well, I'm assuming it's not like that where you are. It's bitterly cold here at the moment. And yeah, we'll be wrapped up warm and taking coffee and stuff with us.
The haunting.
Let's come with us, William, when you're over.
Yeah, the haunting happens at dusk. So there's no point staying there all night because it's just at dusk and just as it's gotten dark. So,
and when we were about to leave, it sort of petered off, didn't it? It slowed down.
Well, it's just as well, really. Seeing things that I'm not sure of what they are. Different kind of energy. It absolutely frightened me, to be honest.
Excellent, William. You definitely take to that.
Well,
yeah, well, you are, Bill. It's absolutely Baltic. But yeah, it is an intrigue. Oh, good luck on that, Terry. Good luck on that, mate.
Yeah.
Good luck on that.
we're out investigating. I'm not looking forward to it because it is frightening. Don't understand it. I don't know what these things are. They look like dementors. They have no face or hands or feet, and I've never witnessed anything like that before in my life.
Yeah, exactly, William. And we take our cheers. We take
And
cheers
a flask.
And a flask.
Well, we sat on a bench last time we went.
We did,
It was
yeah,
a bench,
we did,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, it was, yeah, it was a bench, yeah. It was
I hope it
right in the
wasn't
graveyard
leaning on.
itself, wasn't it?
I hope it wasn't leaning up near any graves or anything.
No, I think the field behind it, I think they kept sheep in there. I think it was just a grazing field. They kept sheep. But yeah, it was interesting. But
At least
go
we
on.
won't have any farmers with their tractors. Well, you never know. We might get a haunted tractor reanimate itself. You never know.
You never know, do you? Never ever know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's like. Everything, isn't it? The thing with the paranormal is it throws up more answers when the questions. You find that you think you've got. Oh, okay, I might have a handle on that, and then bang, when you sit down and think it through, 10 more questions are thrown up out of that one answer that you think you might have discovered. But
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just odd. But that's what makes it so exciting. That's what makes it so like a drug, I guess. But
The wanting to know the answers to the questions.
yeah.
So you keep looking, and you go down one rabbit hole, and then you find about 6 open up, and you don't know which one to go to.
Viv. Exactly right, Viv. It's you know. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Do you remember that time we did what Datchworth Terry was? I think it was coming up with Christmas. It might be Christmas Eve or something. Just me and you went over to Datchworth and did the church on our own, and then we crept round the back of it to the cemetery. That was a good night. I remember that. Great night. Yeah, it's an amazing subject, isn't it? It's just like, and the more you get involved in it, the more it sucks you in, doesn't it?
Mm.
You know, it's like I can never understand. Sorry, go on, Viv.
I was going to say, well, next week, Dan, I don't know what we're going to talk about. Your turn to come up with an idea next week.
Yeah, I did have an idea. What was it? A subject for next week. I was thinking, what was it now? I would like to talk about the paranormal, but I would like to talk about TV programming. I would also like to talk about I'd like to talk about paranormal programming, and I'd like to talk about they are, Terry. I'd like to also talk about the amount of YouTube channels to do the paranormal. I mean, to give you an idea, I'll just start off. To give you an idea, what we're going to talk about is, I used to be subscribed to an awful lot of paranormal channels. I used to watch an awful lot of paranormal programming, but I lost the heart to watch it. And even the last 2 teams that I've watched, I no longer watch, because they get to a point where they start out and they're credible and they've got doing everything the right way, and then they get a few views and they get a few this and that, and then all of a sudden they start adding stuff to it, and it's plain and clear to see that what they are adding is not real. It's fakery. Yeah. And it's misinterpretations and what have you, and that's the one thing that has annoyed me.
So we'll discuss like the TV programs, YouTube channels, or we can call it the fakery within the paranormal.
Yeah, good.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
So that's you heard it here first, guys. I promise you that I will do a poster to remind everyone, but I fell asleep this afternoon, so I forgot. I couldn't do it. But yeah, and don't forget, we are on Simply Spooky tomorrow night.
Yes,
where our guests are not. Is it called Not Once for Yes?
Not exactly. Not Once for Yes. They're a paranormal programming podcast. They're British or English, and they are the best I've ever heard or seen. They're absolutely fantastic, and they're a darling couple of people, absolutely wonderful couple of people, and they're knowledgeable and they're just lovely, really nice people. So tomorrow night,
they'll be on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on the Simply Spooky network on Facebook. So try and we hope you can join us and maybe put some questions to them tomorrow.
That'd be great.
That's it for today, I'm afraid, Dan. It's gone ever so quick, that hour, isn't it?
It has,
We're only doing an hour tonight.
Yeah.
But we'll catch up with everybody tomorrow on the Simply Spooky page. Thank you for everyone in the chat for coming on and for your questions. And we hope to see you, if not tomorrow, next week at the same time at 7 o'clock. So, so we hope you can join us then.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care, everyone.
For tuning in and what have you. And I'll speak to you next week. Look after yourselves and have a great week.